The note came from the back row of the Comedy Store. 2 beats instead of 1 after the callback setup. Jake Martinez had just finished a solid set, and this note, technically correct but unsolicited, annoyed him. He looked into the darkness at an older guy in a baseball cap. "You a comedy teacher or something?" Jake asked into the mic. The crowd chuckled. The older guy shook his head. "Just someone who's been doing this a while," he said quietly. Jake's next sentence would haunt him for months. "Well, the stage is open if you want to show the class how it's done." What Jake didn't know was that Robin Williams had been doing this for 35 years. It was March 2009, and the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard looked exactly as it had for decades. The same worn stage, the same brick walls covered in signatures, the same red vinyl booths that had witnessed Richard Pryor, Sam Kinison, and Robin Williams himself in their early days. Robin was 58 years old now. He'd recently returned to stand-up after years focused on film, and he'd been quietly dropping into clubs around LA, just watching. Tonight he was sitting in the back corner, baseball cap pulled low. Nobody had recognized him. The Monday night open mic was running. The host was Tommy Dorai Chen, a veteran comedian who'd been running this night for 3 years. Next up, Jake Martinez. Jake Martinez was 27 and finally breaking through. Groundlings graduate, solid 5 minutes, bookers noticing him. He took the stage with earned confidence. His set was tight. The crowd was with him. His closer was about his Mexican mother meeting his white girlfriend's parents, with a callback to an earlier jalapeno joke. "So my mom says to her dad, 'In my country, we put jalapenos on everything. Your daughter, she cannot handle the spice.'" The crowd laughed. Jake delivered the callback. "And that's when I realized my mom wasn't talking about food anymore." Bigger laugh. Jake thanked the crowd and walked off to solid applause. Tommy took the mic. "Jake Martinez, everybody, that callback was clean." That's when the voice came from the back corner. 2 beats instead of 1 after the callback setup. Jake stopped. Tommy looked toward the back. The voice continued. The laugh on "cannot handle the spice" hadn't fully landed. If you pause 2 beats instead of rushing into the callback, the punchline hits harder. You're stepping on your own laugh. Jake squinted into the darkness. An older guy in a baseball cap, sitting alone. Jake felt annoyed. The set had gone well, and now some random old guy was offering unsolicited notes. "You a comedy teacher or something?" Jake asked, sarcasm edging his tone. The crowd chuckled. The older guy shook his head. "No, just someone who's been doing this a while." His voice was quiet, humble. No challenge in it. But Jake was riding the high of a good set. The groundlings had taught him timing. And this old guy was telling him his timing was off. "Well," Jake said into the microphone, "the stage is open if you want to show the class how it's done." The crowd laughed louder. Someone whistled. Tommy smirked. The older guy said nothing, then raised his hand in a small no thanks gesture. Jake shrugged. "All right, we love our critics here too." More laughter. Jake sat down. But the older guy stood up and walked toward the stage. Tommy noticed. The crowd noticed. Jake definitely noticed. The guy reached the stage and looked at Tommy. "Do you have a minute of stage time?" Tommy nodded. "Yeah, name?" "Robin." Tommy wrote it down, stepped aside. Robin took the microphone. "So comedy timing," Robin said, his voice conversational. A few people shifted. Something about his voice. "My friend Jake just did a solid set. His material is good, his delivery is clean, but there's this thing about timing that's invisible until you see it." Jake sat still, watching. Robin turned. "Tommy, can I borrow Jake for a second?" Jake walked back on stage, disoriented. "Let's do your callback again," Robin said. "Just the setup and punchline." Jake delivered. "In my country, we put jalapenos on everything. Your daughter, she cannot handle the spice." Robin held up his hand. "Now watch, 1 beat." He paused 1 second. "And that's when I realized my mom wasn't talking about food." Robin reset. "Now 2 beats." This time he paused 2 full seconds. Then, "And that's when I realized my mom wasn't talking about food." The difference was undeniable. The extra beat let the first joke land, let the audience anticipate, made the punchline hit harder. Someone murmured. Oh shit. Robin handed the mic back. That's all I meant. Your joke works either way, but 2 beats gives the audience time to connect the dots. You were stepping on your own laugh. Jake stood there, not knowing what to say. Then a woman in the 3rd row squinted at the stage. She pulled out her phone, looked at it, looked back at Robin. Wait, is that? Oh, another person looked up, then another. That's Robin Williams. No way. Look at his face. Within seconds, the entire room realized. The older guy in the baseball cap who'd offered a timing note was Robin Williams. Jake's face went white, then red, then white again. Phones came out, people stood up. Robin held up his hands. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt. I was just listening and couldn't help offering a note. Old habit. His voice was apologetic. No triumph, no I told you so. Someone shouted to a set. Others joined. Come on, Robin. 5 minutes? Robin looked at Tommy, who nodded, stunned. All right, just a few minutes. What happened next was something the 40 people in that room would talk about forever. Robin Williams, without preparation, launched into material that moved from Jake's joke to his childhood, to his years at the Comedy Store in the 1970s, to his return to stand-up. He did voices. Characters. Moved through ideas at that signature pace, then dropped into quiet observations. But most importantly, he demonstrated timing. Real timing. Every pause was deliberate. Every beat calculated. Every callback landed with precision. The difference between someone who'd studied comedy and someone who'd lived it for 35 years was on display. The room was silent except for laughter. Nobody checked phones. Everyone was present. After 7 minutes, Robin rapped with a callback to Jake's joke, perfect 2-beat timing, and the room exploded. People stood. Someone cried. Tommy shook his head in disbelief. Robin set the microphone down and started to leave. But Jake stepped forward. Mr. Williams, Jake's voice failed. Robin put his hand on Jake's shoulder. Your set was good, really good. The note I gave you? That's not criticism. That's one comedian talking to another. Take it or leave it. You've got the hard part down, you're funny and brave enough to get on stage. The rest is refinement. Jake nodded, unable to speak. And hey, you were right to challenge me. If someone's giving notes from the audience, they should back it up on stage. That's fair. You didn't know who I was, and you shouldn't have to. The stage is the ultimate argument. Tommy approached. Mr. Williams, if we'd known. Robin waved it off. No, this is perfect. This is why I come to these nights. No announcement, no special treatment. Just comedy. He turned to Jake. Keep doing what you're doing. You've got something. Just remember, sometimes the silence is as important as the words. Then Robin addressed the room. I'm going to slip out, please continue the open mic. There are other comedians waiting, and they deserve your attention more than I do. Massive applause. Before reaching the door, Robin stopped and turned to Tommy. The next time someone offers a note, even unsolicited, even if it seems wrong, consider it. Not because they're right, but because sometimes the best teachers are the ones you don't expect. I learned more from drunks yelling at me than from formal training. Robin smiled, waved, and left. 5 seconds of silence. Then eruption. Jake sat down heavily. His friend Marcus leaned over. Dude, you just challenged Robin Williams. Jake put his head in his hands. I know. And he was gracious. I know. Marcus laughed. That's either the worst moment of your life or the best lesson. Both, definitely both. Tommy got the open mic back on track, but the energy had changed completely. Jake stayed for the rest of the night, barely hearing other sets. His mind kept replaying, the stage is open if you want to show the class. The condescension in his voice. The assumption the old guy couldn't back it up. The casual dismissal. And Robin's response. Not angry, not superior. Just demonstrating, teaching, leaving with grace. Word spread through LA comedy. Robin Williams showed up at Tommy's open mic and proved why timing matters. But more importantly, something changed in Jake. The next Monday, when someone from the audience offered a note, Jake didn't dismiss it. That's a good point, he said into the mic. Want to come up and talk me through it? The woman declined, but Jake had made his point. He wasn't the expert. He was still learning. 3 weeks later, Jake ran into Robin at the Laugh Factory. Robin was arriving, cap low, hoping to watch quietly. Jake approached before he could slip away. "Mr. Williams?" Robin turned, recognized Jake, smiled. "Hey, jalapeno guy, how are you? I wanted to apologize for that night." Robin held up his hand. "Don't. You did what you should have done. Someone gives a note, you challenge them to back it up. That's not wrong. You just happened to challenge someone who'd been doing it a while." 35 years. Is that what I said? Robin smiled. Feels longer some days. They talked. Robin asked about Jake's comedy, where he was performing. He gave a few more notes, gently, and Jake listened. Before Robin headed in, he said one more thing. "That note about 2 beats? I learned that from Richard Pryor in 1978. He told me I was rushing my callbacks. Too excited to get to the punchline. Took me 2 more years to internalize it." Jake blinked. "Richard Pryor told you that?" "Yep. I was 27, just like you. Thought I knew everything because clubs were booking me. Pryor watched me bomb at the Comedy Store, and afterward, very quietly, gave me that note. Changed my approach." Robin patted Jake's shoulder. "We all learn from someone. When you learn something, pass it on. That's how comedy stays alive." He walked into the Laugh Factory, found a seat in the back, became invisible. Jake stood outside, processing. Richard Pryor had given Robin Williams a timing note in 1978. Robin had given Jake that note in 2009. Someday, maybe Jake would pass it on. That's how it worked. Not through books or classes, but through one comedian watching another, caring enough to say something. 2 months later, Jake performed at the Comedy Store again. Same open mic. He did his jalapeno bit, and when he hit the callback, he paused for 2 full beats. The laugh was noticeably bigger. Tommy caught Jake's eye afterward and nodded. Jake smiled. He'd learned. Years later, when Jake became a Comedy Store regular and started coaching younger comedians, he always told the same story. March 2009, I challenged Robin Williams to prove himself on stage. He did. And he taught me the most important lesson: timing matters, but humility matters more. He'd pause. 2 beats. And if an old guy in a baseball cap gives you a note from the back row, maybe listen. He might know what he's talking about. The stage is the ultimate argument. Robin proved that. But he also proved winning the argument isn't about making someone look foolish, it's about teaching them something. Jake learned timing that night. But more importantly, he learned grace. 2 beats instead of 1. That was the technical note. The real lesson: expertise doesn't need to announce itself. It just demonstrates. Robin Williams did that perfectly. And 40 people never forgot it.